Okay. Composite functions are very important on the ACT test and also in calculus, so this is an important lesson. We did this lesson in Algebra 1 Honors. You also should have done this lesson in Algebra 2 Honors. So this is the third time you're seeing a composite function. Hopefully you remember it after some gentle nudging from me. Okay, so we want to find f of g of x, g of f of x, f of g of 2, and g of f of 2. Your favorite problems, the problems that have all the parts. Okay, so f of x is x squared minus 4, g of x is x squared plus 2. So the first thing is I want to remind you, you read this as f of g of x, f of g of x. That's how you read that. And you read this guy g of f of x. That's how you read that. That is not multiplication. Okay, so this is where you have to plug one guy into the other guy. So g of x, whichever one is written right there, so you're going to take g of x and you're going to plug that in the place of the x. So if f of x is x squared minus 4, in the place of the x, you're going to plug in x squared plus 2. So you're going to plug this guy in the place of that x. So I'm going to FOIL this out pretty quickly. X to the fourth plus 4x squared plus 4 minus 4. So that is x to the fourth plus 4x squared. All right, now g of f of x means you're going to take f of x, you're going to take this guy, and you're going to plug it in the place of that. So g of x is x squared plus 2. So now in the place of that x, we're going to plug in x squared minus 4 squared plus 2. Marlo says hi. So that's going to be x to the fourth minus 8x squared plus 16 plus 2, which gives me x to the fourth minus 8x squared plus 18. Now, there's a couple of ways you could do part C. You could go and find g of 2. So you could go find g of 2. G of 2 is 2 squared plus 4. So g of 2 is 6. So you could find g of 2 and get 6. And then plug 6 in there. So 6 squared is 36 minus 4 is 32. So the answer to this is 32. So that's one way to do it. Find g of 2, get your answer for g of 2, plug it in for f. But another way is if I have f of g of x right here and they want me to find f of g of 2, another way is to just plug 2 in that. So 2 to the fourth plus 4 times 2 squared. So that's 16 plus 16. So that's 32, which is exactly what we got if we found g of 2. Okay, so let's practice that again. So one thing I could do is I could find f of 2. So you would find f of 2. So f of 2 is 0. And then f of 2 is 0. Then plug 0 in to the g equation, and so you'll get 2. So that is one way to do it. Another way is to realize that you have g of f of x up here. So to find g of f of 2, we're just going to plug 2 in. So that's 2 to the fourth minus 8 times 2 squared plus 18. So that's 16 minus 32. So that's negative 16 plus 18, which is 2, which is the same answer we got when I talked about the other way. All right, so let's practice that again. So now we are going to find f of g of x. So the good news is on this problem, we just have to find one answer. But we do have to state the domain, your favorite thing. Okay, so f of g of x. So you're going to take g of x and you're going to plug it in every place there's an x. So, there's an x on top too. So you're going to have 6 over x. So you're going to put that in the place of the x. And then you're going to put 6 over x plus 4. So we have a nice little complex fraction on our hands. And the top is in good shape. The bottom needs to have a common denominator of x. And so that becomes 6 plus 4x. So that means 6 over x divided by 6 plus 4x over x. And remember that 6 over x times x over 6 plus 4x. And so the x's cancel, and so you get 6 over 6 plus 4x. So that is your answer. You cannot cross out the 6's. Now, when we're trying to figure out the domain, you have to take both of these into account. So x cannot be 0. X cannot be -4. Right? And x can also, so 6 plus 4x cannot equal 0. 4x cannot equal -6, so x cannot equal -3/2. So we have a lot going on here. So we're going to say -infinity to -4, union with -4 to -3/2, union with -3/2 to 0, union with 0 to infinity. Because if x were -4, then I would have gotten undefined, like, yep, I would have, wait, on this guy, oh, no, because right here, I wouldn't have gotten undefined. So we're in good shape with the -4. Sorry about that. All right, so now let's do the same thing. So we're finding f of g of x. So we're going to take g of x, this guy, and we're going to plug it in for this guy. Oh, how interesting. So that means in the place of that x, I'm going to put 2 minus x, and then squared, and then plus 1. And the square and the square root cancel out, so we have 2 minus x plus 1. So that gives me 3 minus x. Now, remember that 2 minus x has to be greater than or equal to 0 because 2 minus x was underneath a square root. So minus my 2, negative x greater than or equal to -2. So we get x less than or equal to 2. So, my domain is -infinity to 2 with a bracket.